Welcome back from that break. This is still the AM Club coming to you live from the MX24 studios, Oleander Streets, East Legon, Accra, Ghana. I know you are thinking of how to turn that skill into income, actual income, money in your pocket. Well, we're going to have that conversation this morning, so stay right here with me. Before we get into that, your money, the money you're about to make, deserves a safest home. With Telecel Cash, you're protected every step of the way. No risk, no worries, no long stories, just peace of mind, okay? Dial *110# or download the Telecel Play app now for safe, secure transactions. Telecel Cash, your safer choice. Joining me this morning in the studio is co-founder iSpace Ghana, Josiah Ayesen. He is joining me. We're going to be discussing monetizing digital skills and the way you can, turn your skills into income. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm blessed, beautiful, and very successful.
Amen.
Now, listen. He said earlier that we could skip this conversation and just talk about something else. And I agree to that. I mean, who cares? But I do.
Yeah.
I do. So let's touch on that.
Okay.
Before we have other conversations.
Yes.
We have like 2 hours to finish the show.
Amen.
Just you and I. Why are you all calm now?
Because we're on air.
Because we're on air. Wow. But anyway, let's jump right into it. So for those who are, just their minds and their thoughts have just been caught into the conversation of turning your skills into income. Let's jump right into it and talk about what does it mean to monetize your skills in today's digital economy?
Okay, so once again, thank you for this opportunity. And I think where we are, it's a separation, right? Because monetization, you need to kind of figure out what that actually means. So literally, how do I make money from whatever it is that I do, right? That's literally how do I just make money from what it is that I do.
Absolutely.
And from the digital skills, again, there's the hard digital skills and then the soft digital skills. So the hard skills are, somebody that, let's say you use a digital camera, you take a picture, right? You are then able to edit the picture, use Photoshop or whatever platforms that you're using or software that you're using to edit that particular picture. Then you post it online. But once you post it online, right, are you posting it on Instagram? Are you posting it on Pinterest? All of these are the places that you need to post it on. Now, once you do that and you leave it alone, you're not monetizing, right? Because there isn't any strategy to it. Yeah. But imagine if you went and took a picture when an event happened in Ghana, for example. There's a carnival, you took a picture, you edited it very well, and you place it online. And then you use certain hashtags, or you boost it, or you put it, and then you put your logo on it, and somebody wants to then buy that picture, right? Now, the problem is the person has to pay you. The platform that you're on, is it monetizable, right? Because not every single platform is monetizable. Yeah. And again, the location that you're in sometimes is also not monetizable. So you might be in Ghana and it's not available to you. See, so it's all about strategy in that sense. So monetization is strategy. It's just not just posting something online and think you're going to make money out of it. There has to be a thought process that goes into it. And I think that is the missing gap that a lot of people are kind of not, understanding what it takes to do that. And hopefully, as time goes on, they will get it. Yeah. But monetization is literally just making money from what it is that you do.
Yeah, so let's stay in that space a little bit. For people who are, I met a young boy, he's about 16 years old, and he's already designing websites and doing so great at it. In his mind, he said he will make money. And like you rightly said, you could be great at something and be putting it everywhere and not make money out of it. How then do you practicalize the making of the money? Where do you go to for someone who is young, skillful, just talented in that digital space? Where do they start from in terms of money?
So let's separate the notion of making money when it comes to, let's say, digital assets, right? So if you're a website person and you created a website, for example, you could either be selling the website to somebody. So somebody hired your skills, so your skill for hire, right? Somebody hired your skills, you coded the website, they paid you. Thank you very much. That's cool. That's done. You've been paid. That's okay, right? So you kind of monetize that skill set. Yeah. Then you have those that think about the strategy of business, and they can create 100 templates, right? And those templates, they can upload it onto different platforms. So Shopify and all of these other platforms, you upload your templates on there. So if, let's say, for example, Mimi, you were looking for to build your own website, but then you don't have the skills to build your own website. So you can go and purchase that template that this 16-year-old created, they uploaded onto Shopify.
Yeah.
That's how they make money, right? See, so you need to separate it. Are you just going to be a mercenary, quote unquote, skills for hire, where I will hire you, you create a website, and I pay you? Or are you going to spend your time to create 10 amazing website templates, upload it to the Shopifys of this world, and then you own the rights to that? Because a lot of the times, most of these guys don't own the rights. You can only make money from what you own. If you don't own it, you can't make money from it. So ownership is where the monetization comes in, right? See, so once you then upload this website, if somebody's looking for a website to, let's say, for a fashion store or whatever, you've created one already. They go onto Shopify, they see your name, they download your template, Shopify makes their money, you also make your money. But on the back end, you have to create a brand for yourself. You have to then probably go on TikTok to talk about creating websites and all of these other things. And then you tell people, oh, if you're looking for website, a template and everything else, go onto this platform and then you can purchase it. See, so again, you as a web developer, ask yourself, do I want to be a work for hire or do I want to be a business person? The business person then comes in and creating multiple websites, uploading them onto a template, build a back end where wherever you've uploaded it onto, they will pay you when somebody downloads it.
Yeah.
So that there's a two pathway to that that sense. Yeah.
Awesome. And I love that you zoom straight into branding. How is branding important? Because this is a conversation you're very passionate about.
Right.
I remember 2 years ago, you were angry.
Yeah.
What is even branding?
Yeah.
The person says I'm a brand, but what are you?
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah. So I'm glad you're talking about that. And I think now that we're in a digital space, even let's talk about that. And branding is two things to me, right? You have everything that I talk about. I would say there's a hard part of branding and then the soft part of branding. But let's focus on the soft part, for example. In Ghana, you have a lot of web developers or coders in that sense. They get upset on projects and then they take the codes with them, right?
Yes.
They don't finish the project and then they delete everything. That's all part of your brand. Now, people will not want to work with you because they know that you don't finish your work or you don't deliver on time, and then or you delete codes or you cheat on codes or you take somebody else's code and then say that it's yours. It's all part of branding. So branding is what somebody says you are, not what you think you are. Right?
Branding
is what somebody says you are, not what you think you are. Right? See, so that branding, in essence, is like, yeah, you've created a website, but nobody knows about it. Go on Facebook and then talk about a website, what the website is supposed to look like. You can put a few pictures up there or do a how-to video and then post it on YouTube, for example. Do a quick how-to video. So you tell kids like, oh, if you want to create this kind of website, this is how you code it from scratch. You do this. You put, you can use Elementor. You can use this. You can do that. And then that how-to video is teaching somebody else how to do what it is that you do. You become credible. Because with branding comes credibility. You become credible. So now somebody's looking for, let's say, somebody to create a fintech product for them. Who are they going to go to? You. Because you've created a how-to video on how to do it, because it shows that you can do the thing. So brand is not what you say I can do, is what you've shown you can do, and somebody's like, okay, yeah, this person can do it. See, so being credible, right? Being consistent and have integrity. That, to me, is branding.
Branding.
Right? It's not just because you created a nice website, because even I can't code, but I can create a nice website. I can use AI to do it and then tell you that I did it. And then when I get a big contract and I'm not able to fulfill it, I just killed my brand, right?
Yeah, Yeah.
See, so you have to have substance to what it is that you say you do.
And at the core of it is credibility,
Credibility, integrity, and being consistent.
Absolutely, absolutely. And these are things. If you know Josiah personally, you know these are things he's very big on. He doesn't play with that. What are the common mistakes for those who are trying to startups, young people that are trying to make money or monetize your skills? What are the common mistakes they make that you've heard of that?
So on the common mistakes is like a lot of people assume that the moment you post something online, then you're supposed to make money out of it, right? First of all, find out the platform itself, if you can monetize it, then the location that you're in, if it's even available for you to be able to monetize. Because a lot of the times, African countries or the locations that we're in, we can't monetize. See, so most of the people that you see monetize and stuff have people external, abroad, that have then used their linkage or their locations to then launch that platforms and stuff for them. But then, typical example, you look somebody like Amayal, for example, right? It took a long time for him to be able to monetize. He didn't just get up today and decide I'm monetizing. He was known as a blogger for a long time and then build a community. So building a community, people want what it is that you're doing. People will be able to pay for what it is that you're doing, right? And then see the platforms that you're on, what type of APIs they can use. And again, I'm using too many technical words, but can you attach Momo payments to it? Does it take credit card payments and all of that? So you have to research all of those things, right? Because if I can't pay you, then how are you monetizing, right? See, so you need to have a bank account to start with where the money will go into. See, so if you attach yourself to Facebook, for example, the Facebook that you're monetizing, they need to know you're paying taxes. And so are you registered to pay taxes? Are you a legit person?
Business,
And then the money goes into a bank account, and all of these other things, so it is easier to do. Then you've got, if you're probably using Instagram to monetize, the WhatsApp, is it Momo payment? And then one thing that I always say, that when people send you a message, right, you need to reply, like literally. Because if you're selling something on Instagram, for example, and I message you on Instagram, it takes 4 or 5 days to get back to me. How are you monetizing? So in this case, don't think about the money. Think about monetization, the systems that you need in order for you to make the money. So one, is the platform even open in my country for me to monetize? And what payment platforms do I need to integrate, or I need to use for this platform for me to make money? These are the business things that you need to think about. It's not just getting up and posting it online and then sitting down and thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna make money. It doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. And this, I think that the big part of today's show for me is really the learning part, because every conversation we've had has opened up, an avenue for us to learn. Because you're just mentioning right now that it's not about the, just thinking, oh, it's a system you create.
Yeah.
So even online, you need to create a system that will make you money, or that will make you credible enough for someone to say, I will pay for this.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, realistically, okay, and I know we've talked about all the things we could do and make it happen, but realistically, from scratch, can someone actually make money? Because again, we've seen influencers, we've seen businesses online who will tell us that, oh, I bought this house from just being online. I did. Realistically, are we able to make that much money, online?
Yes and no, right? Yes and no. So it depends on what it is that you're doing. So if you use somebody like I Show Speed, for example, right? They belong to a platform where people pay to kind of literally follow the person, right? See, so they will give you subs. You have a community of people that give you subs. That's why most people tend to go on like TikTok Live and all of that, because you get money from, people can pay you. You can literally go on TikTok Live and then you get people sending you 10 cedi here, 20 cedi here, and all of these other things. So you're making money. Or are you creating content that advertisers would want to advertise on your platform, right? See, so let's say if I know that Mimi creates a YouTube, content, and it goes to 1 million people. Those 1 million people, so from a marketing point of view, I'm thinking, okay, if I place my ad on Mimi's platform, I'm going to get, hopefully, 100,000 people can see it. Mimi then can turn around and say, okay, I'm charging you 1 cedi per a view. In that sense, you just made money. So there's a possibility of making the money, but again, is who are you, right? Word Maya, all of these other people, they have millions of followers, so they're able to make money from there. But you, with your 10 viewers, there's no way you're going to tell me you have 10 views and you're buying a house in East Legon. That don't work. But somebody with 15 million, from that, it doesn't work. But somebody with 10 million followers, that, that person, if they tell me that they're making money from their content, I believe them, because they have that number of viewers. So marketers are going to use their platform. They can literally charge you for product placement and all of that. So it's not just from advertisement alone, it's product placement. Because even this nice car on the table, right? We can, we can have a situation where you can charge a company for placing an ad on it. So if I have a platform and a podcast, for example, right, on my platform, I can charge any company for product placement. I'm making money from it. I can charge people to place a logo or anything on my platform. I'm making money. So there's, strategically, there's ways of doing it. But yes, it takes time. You have to build a community. It just doesn't happen overnight and you post today and then tomorrow you're buying a house in East Legon. No.
Yeah. It doesn't work like that. So now you know that you need patience, you need time, you need to be consistent. And like you said earlier, you need to build a system that would actually make you credible for anybody to even want to see you, the things you're doing, and even want to pay you. Now let's go to the part where all of this, and this is something I enjoy watching you talk about, the mindset shift, about making money. About succeeding and what we term as success, even on this part of the world. I enjoy watching you talk about. So let's get into that.
So a mindset shift. So I always say that when it comes to business, there's two mindsets. There's the owner mindset and there's the worker mindset, but you're both doing business, right? Now, the worker mindset is literally, I produce something for somebody, they pay me, I pray that every month they're able to pay me, that's fine. Consistently, you do the work that you need to do and everything else. Good. You get paid, that's business, that's fine. That's a worker mindset. But on a business mindset, you need to start thinking about owning the content that you're creating. So that means you have to pay lawyers, right? You own the equipment, you have to purchase, standard equipment or even, above standard equipment. The team that you have to have, right? All of these things. And then when you get the money, remember you have to pay taxes and all of these other things. See, so business, when it comes to that side of making money, again, like the fact that I'm using the same words, there has to be systems. The worker mindset business doesn't care about the systems, right? But the business ownership mindset cares about systems. So you need to build a system. The once we create this content, where is it going? Do we have ownership of that content? And if we have the ownership of that content, that means I can sell it to different platforms, right? If I sell it to different platforms, I'm making money out of it. I need to pay a lawyer just in case. And a typical example, what's even happening in this whole content space, right? You will see one person create content. Suddenly, all other content creators are creating exactly the same thing, right? So that means that copyright issue is not even being dealt with. So imagine if I am a business owner, right? I've set up a production company, I've created this content, and suddenly people are replicating it. My question is, who do I sue? Right? Because I can't sue anybody. And so imagine you have gone and paid for script writers and actors and all of those other stuff and created something so great, it goes viral, and then suddenly, copycats are just copying everything that you're doing. See, so now you need to then ask yourself, from a business point of view, I need to be able to then protect the content that I'm creating. See, so if you want to go into this content management space or digital space, you need to ask yourself, am I doing it just to make money and I don't care who copies my work and that's okay? Or I'm trying to build a legacy. If you're trying to build and own it, right? So legacy, you need to own it. And then owning meaning paying taxes, paying lawyers, having a team, and all of those other things. And that is patience. And for me, in order for you to be successful, you have to be patient for that to happen. It doesn't happen overnight at all. Because even You know, because sometimes we even confuse influencers with content creators, right? Because, yeah, because the influencer is the person in front of the camera.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
it's like I can hold this and tell people, oh yeah, go and buy a Coca-Cola and smile about it. But the content creators are the people behind the content. They're the creators, right? The script writer, the video guy, the editor, the lighting person, all of those things. So even if you are part of that system, are you getting paid for it, right? What ownership do you have in that? And sometimes the camera guy, you might say, okay, I want to be paid 2,000 Ghana cedis and flat rate. Okay, cool. Now you worked on the same content that now is generating somebody 2 million. You can't complain because you asked for 2,000 Ghana cedis. However, if you then said to yourself, okay, I am going to charge you, let's say 500 cedis, but I want 1% ownership, equity in that content. That's business. So business is investment.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to invest. So even though you're a camera guy, you can still think in a strategic way. You need to own part of the content that you're creating, right? So don't just think that the content creator, you are not the content creator, you are the creator. The person in front is just a platform that you're using to then communicate what it is that you saying to the world. So we need to be very careful with the words that we use. Influencers are not, as far as I'm concerned, are not content creators. The behind the scene guys, the back end guys are the content creators. You're just a front for it. You're just an actor. I know some people be upset. I'm not trying to take your job away from you, but
you can call yourself a content creator if you want. Just that now we've given you clarity on the roles.
Yeah, that involves
that involves content creation and influencership. And so now you decide where you belong.
Yes.
And whatever, whatever you fall on the spectrum, you're still pretty relevant to the entire conversation anyway. So I don't see why anybody would ever be upset. Don't be upset. Yeah. We're learning here. We're learning here. Okay, so let's just stay learning. Okay. Now this again. So for me, we could totally end the conversation here. But for you, what are you looking at doing this year in terms of bringing clarity to this digital space for the people, the young? I know you're training people, you're doing all of these things at your foundation, but tell us what you do at iSpace and how people could connect with you, because this wisdom that you like to spew out, some people are already excited. They're shouting in my ears. They said they want a masterclass. Technical team said they want a masterclass. So we're doing a masterclass, by the way. We'll tell you all about the masterclass, but let's talk about it.
So I think for me, what I'm trying to do this year is preach on ownership, right?
Lovely.
A lot of the time, African digital creators are creating content that goes onto somebody else's platform. So the Facebooks of this world, the Instagrams of this world, the Snapchats of this world are already kill switch. I call them kill switch platforms, right? Because today, if Instagram decides to click off, everything is gone.
All our
right?
content is gone.
All our content is gone. We don't own anything, right? We don't own anything. We just consume. We don't own anything. See, so I'm pushing for us to be able to then own these platforms, right? A young, what they call a web developer, don't just think about creating a website. Think about creating the next Snapchat that would let local content go on top of it, right? So that we can then keep the money locally. Government can tax it. Government then makes money, can build roads, invest in electricity. All of those other things because we are able to then collect the money locally. Right now, there's a conversation about, taxation on digital taxation, right? First of all, how are you even going to start? Where are you going to start with? If my platform is in the UK, and I'm collecting money in the UK, and it's my bank account in the UK, and I'm in Ghana, you, a Ghanaian government, how are you going to collect the money? How are you going to know that I'm making money? So we need to invest in building local infrastructure, digital infrastructure that allows our creators to create content locally. So when there's a global kill switch, we don't care. We are okay. Like literally okay, because we are creating the content and owning the content. All of this content that we create, who owns them? We don't own them, right? We don't own them. That's the reason why people can do what they want with our content and we're not making money out of it. See, so for me, my preaching is always going to be ownership. But how do we go about it? From the legal perspective, right? And then from the creation perspective, and then the market side of things, and even creating these platforms, we need to own the whole value chain, not post things on social media and then Zuckerberg makes money, advertise things for you, and he makes money, but then the local guy, what money are you making for him? Nothing.
So you're speaking at the AI Arts and the Law
Yes.
on the 8th of May.
May, right. Looking forward to that.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about the whole AI thing. Because AI has changed everything, right? It's really changed everything. And whether it's positive or negative depends on where you sit. So I'm looking forward to that conversation on the 8th. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. And so if you haven't registered yet, please you people, go and register, because this wisdom is going to be, reigning in the room. And I think that we should all be in the room to learn and grow. I told you that this year, again, we started this last year. This year, again, we're learning and growing together. Nobody's going to be left behind. I'm going to the top with everyone watching. So we're going together, we're learning and growing together. Josiah, thank you.
Thank you very
so
much.
It's always pleasant.
Good to see you.
Speaking with you. You know this. Yes. I enjoy listening to this man. I can spend my whole day learning from him. And I absolutely respect you and appreciate you for spending time with us this morning. Now we have more. The show is jam-packed. We'll be right back after this.